I'd love to come back with a happy face, or I'm happy. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. But listen, I've watched every single West Ham YouTube channel, and I think we're all in agreement that was an absolute disgrace yesterday. That really, really was. Before Paul jumps in, let's just go through starting lineups. Their starting lineup was Dubravkin, Yedlin, Fernandez, Lascelles, Clark, Williams, Almerion, Hayden, Shelvey, Saint Maxim, and Joe Linton. And this is where probably it started going wrong for us straight away. Roberto, Zabaleta, Balbuena, Diop, Cresswell, Rice, Noble, Snodgrass, Yarmolenko, Anderson, and Haller. Wait, you go.
I mean, yeah, just so poor. And like you say, mate, as soon as the team was announced, I think we could all see the problems. I think we could all see where it was going to come from. I don't understand why you would start Zabaleta against one of the fastest players in the league. You know, I don't understand why Ogbonna has been dropped. Just so like I don't think it was a small thing. I think the majority, like you say, mate, the majority of West Ham fans, as soon as they saw that lineup, knew that we were going to be in for a bad time. Yeah, very, very poor. First half talking points. I mean, let's be honest. We should have been 5-0 down at half time.
Oh, mate, it was horrendous. And then just looking at it now, so 15 minutes. Diop clips Almerion. Free kick edge of our box. Shelvey loops it in, headed across goal, and Clark for 1-0. Just poor defending.
The defensive organisation was absolutely ridiculous. It was what's his name? Cresswell. Cresswell was marking their centre back, and he out jumped him easily and put it in for the goal. And this is what I mean. I don't know why we dropped Ogbonna. Ogbonna was probably our best defender before he got dropped. He was probably our best defender, and he's the only defender we've got who's got an aerial presence. Diop's like 6'5", but he don't seem to be able to head a ball. Ogbonna's really, really good in the air, and genuinely think if we had Ogbonna in defence yesterday, the first two goals they scored, we wouldn't have conceded because he would have been there to deal with it.
It's Fredericks as well. Again, I just don't understand why Zabaleta was starting. I don't get it. He's a great servant. He's a Premier League legend. He's not Premier League anymore. He's not up to that pace anymore.
Right, the thing is, well, that's the big word, isn't it? He's not a bad defender, but you can't play him against one of the fastest players in the league. You can't.
You've got one of the fastest players in the league on the bench.
100%, exactly that. You know, you've got Fredericks, who was made for him. And to be fair, right, Saint Maxim, he didn't really do anything. Really, he didn't really do anything in the game.
He reminded me a little bit faster Antonio. So he had bags of pace, can barge through every single player, but can't finish.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. He didn't really
quality. There wasn't actual quality.
He probably should have scored twice, but he didn't really do much. But that pace kept us on the back foot, and it kept us nervous at the back, and it kept us worried. Whereas if we'd have had Fredericks there, someone who'd be able to run back, then it wouldn't have been such a problem. You could see how ridiculous it was that the only player in our team fast enough to get back was Felipe Anderson. So Felipe Anderson was basically our last defender when they were breaking. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
21st minute, again, corner, deep cross into the box. Roberto in absolute no man's land. And Fernandez, another centre-back, getting his goal, more or less carbon copy of the first goal. Poor.
Again, shocking. I don't know what Roberto was doing. Kane got absolutely nowhere near it. Flapped. Again, Cresswell was the man marking the defender, who just walked past Cresswell and jumped him, obviously. Shocking. Again, I think I do. First of all, obviously, if it weren't Roberto in goal, if that was Fabianski, wouldn't have happened. And if Ogbonna was in that back two, I don't think it would have happened either. I think he would have dealt with it.
Yeah, very, very poor. 23rd minute, I think you touched on it a little bit. Wide open, Saint Maxim should have scored. Poor finish. It was just laughable at that point. It really was laughable. It was like, what the hell is happening to our
Yeah,
defence?
I mean, that was the one, wasn't it, where it was just a ball over the top, and Zabaleta might as well not have even been there. He just, it looked ridiculous. Just ran past him.
Really, that bit there.
Yeah, just ran past him, through on goal. You could say Roberto made a decent save. Realistically, he just kicked it at him.
Do you think as well, back to the starting lineup? Again, I see a few Amers channels sort of touching on this a bit. You know, you're playing supposedly one of the worst teams in the league, and you don't play a central attacking midfielder. Did you know what I mean? Like, Snoddy played well. One of the rare players that can actually hold his head up from that game. You've got Snodgrass, Rice, and Noble, all very similar. Again, the whole thing with Pellegrini, and we'll touch on this once we've summed up the whole game, was going to play attractive attacking football.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. Like you say, we'll go into Pellegrini in a little bit, so I don't want to go too much on about it now.
We did have a couple of half chances. You had Haller with the overhead kick, and Balbeuna was going close with headers from the corner. He always looked a threat in the attacking corners. But really, mate, the end of that half, it could have been 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9, 10.
Well, I won't go that far, but yeah, it could have been. It should have been. It should have been. Obviously, Shelvey at the bar, really poor. You know, if you watch that back, Balbeuna actually ducked out the way of that shot, so he's lucky that weren't on target.
That's 5 straight away.
Yeah, you had the other one where Saint Maxim got in.
Almerion missed it.
And he cut it back to Almerion, which again was lucky. If he had just put his left foot through that, he would have, Saint Maximin, if he'd have just hit that, he would have scored. For some reason, he cut it back. Almerion missed it. Yeah, it was an absolute shambles. It was disgraceful. It was.
I know it's cliche, and you can repeat yourself over and over again through your football career as a fan. That is one of the worst 45 minutes I've ever seen West Ham play.
Mate, I agree. And what makes it worse is I've been saying that every week. Since even after we beat Man United, I was saying as a couple of Man United fans, quite a few Man United fans in work, I was saying to the guys in work, that's one of the worst I've seen us play this season, and we still beat them easy. So even when we were winning, we were playing bad, and it's just gone worse and worse. Every week I've been saying the same thing.
I say, barring the Norwich performance, like Felipe Anderson was world class that day, I don't think we've had a really good performance. I really don't. No. Please correct me, guys. For anyone's watching, correct me in the chat if you consider any other performance this season as a really good performance. But I think the writing has been on the wall for a little while. And we've just sort of got through. But obviously now it's really starting to hit the fan a little bit. Second half, obviously, Pellegrini had to try and do something. Lanzini and Ajeti came on for Noble and Yarmolenko. It should have started, really. Both of them. I was a bit mystified with Yarmolenko coming off.
I don't know why.
He's been our most dangerous player of the last sort of 2-3 games, even though we've not won. He's the one who looks like he's capable of scoring a goal or capable of, whipping that pass in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have took him off. The thing, I guess, from Pellegrini's point of view, if he wanted to go 2 up top, the other choice would have been to bring off Snodgrass, which I suppose he didn't want to do. But yeah, taking Yarmolenko off, it was I wouldn't have bought him off. Bringing Lanzini on, personally, I wouldn't have made that change. I would have bought on Lanzini and Fredericks rather than Lanzini and Ajeti. But there you go.
Early doors, Newcastle did have a goal disallowed. I think it was just offside. I think it was. Was it Joe Linton? I think.
Yeah. No, it was Yedlin, wasn't it?
Yeah, Yedlin. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Yedlin. Yeah. Again, it just looked like typical. Like, what the hell was he said in the dressing room now? Because he ain't done nothing. We've come out exactly the same. 50th minute. Ben, we said it in the preview, didn't I? I said it in the preview. If this man's playing, he will score. He loves scoring against us. And I'm sorry, it's not a good free kick. It was easy savable by any decent Premier League goalkeeper.
Yeah, it took him an absolute age to get down. I mean, that's something That's clearly a weakness. The goal that he conceded at his near post the other week. Same thing. It took him too long to get down. He can't get down fast enough, and that's exactly
crucial
what.
With the letting Adrian go in the summer. Tell it now. Do you know what I mean? Like they brought in 2 goalkeepers, and the rumor is they're apparently on less than £20,000 a week between them. It's showing. you know, your sub goalie has still got to be to a certain standard.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were relying. I don't understand the Martin signing was probably done just because of his old man. The Roberto signing's a weird one. I don't know who scouted him. What did we see in him? Oh yeah, all right. You don't need to bring him.
He's overweight as well.
Yeah, he just
well overweight.
Does not inspire any confidence at all. He's flappy. He's slow to get down. He's got no command over his area. He can kick the ball quite far, I suppose. If I had to give him a one
lot of fans have been giving him a bit of credit in terms of the one-on-one saves, Saint Maxim and Almerion.
But both of those, they were straight at him.
Yeah,
they were
and
literally straight at him.
He conceded 3. 2 were his fault.
Mm.
No man's land and falling over as if I was in goal. It's just, I don't know. It's just disgraceful.
Yeah.
The game did go on a bit, and obviously, he was threatening the whole game to get a goal, and he did. Balbeuna got a nice header from the corner, but
it was a thing, wasn't it? Ale headed it across. Balbeuna basically kneed it in.
Yeah, but and then obviously, I don't want to go into it too much, but it was a good goal.
It was a good goal.
It was a good goal, but it flatters us. That result, 3-2.
Yep.
It makes it look like it was a lot closer in the history books. But that game should have been about 7-8-2. That should have been.
Yeah, massively. I watched the Sky Sports highlights they put up on YouTube after the game, just to see. I don't even know. I don't know why I wanted to torture myself with it to watch it all again. But watching the highlights, and I didn't watch Match of the Day. I don't really watch Match of the Day anymore. But watching the highlights, it made it look like we were half decent. We weren't. We were shocking. That last sort of 20 minutes after the goal, Newcastle got a bit nervous and we looked a lot better. But we needed to start the game with that intensity. It was the wrong team to start. We come out slow. It was the same sideways, backwards.
Yeah, the team that, again, this is universal with the West Ham channels. The team that started with against Sheffield United and struggled, started the same game. What does that say? Oh, yeah, boys, you know what? You can play like that, and you're going to play next week as well.
Yeah, and then he drops players that didn't deserve dropping, like Fredericks and Ogbonna.
Yeah. I think that's what we'll discuss that in a minute about what changes I would make for next week. But I don't know, mate. It's not looking good. It really ain't. And I ask you this question, mate. Are we in a relegation fight?
We're not yet, but we're getting dragged in. I still think I
think results just went for us yesterday.
Yeah, I still think there's teams worse than us at the moment. And I mean, if you look at it, we're still ridiculously, we're in front of Tottenham. We're on the same points as Man United and Wolves. If you look at it like that, it's not a massive disaster yet. But if you look at it in regards to the last few weeks, we are on a massive slide. And if we don't stop it literally now, then 100% we will be in a relegation fight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very, very nervy. And there's not a player in there, barring probably someone like Mark Noble, perhaps, inspires me that they've got fight if it is a relegation whole season.
No, 100%. But even then, Noble was poor yesterday. He was poor last week. So even Noble's just, I don't know. For me, the only players that came out of that game yesterday with any credit were Snodgrass and Anderson for me. I do think Anderson.
Anderson was poor.
Mate, I think he was the only one who was running around.
I think he overdone the defensive role.
If you look at the at least the work rates, players that were actually putting a shift in, Anderson and Snodgrass were the two that did it. Like I say, twice Anderson was the player running back, stopping goal scoring opportunities. And and that's not his role, and that restricted him from getting forward. But for me, apart from those two, it was poor.
Yeah. Let's just quickly drop in on the comments. Noble was bad this week. Haven't seen him play like that for years. Pellegrini has to go. We're going to discuss that in a minute. And it will be in 4 more games, then we will be in it. Okay, sorry, another comment just come in right then, just before I change the screen. I'm Pellegrini in, but if he goes, I'd prefer Rafa Benitez. Right, just before we talk about Pelle, let's just discuss this quickly. Changes for next week. Obviously, we'll probably do a podcast before Burnley, but listen, for me, Masuaku needs to come back in. Fredericks needs to come back in. Ogbonna needs to come back in. I think Lanzini needs to start. He needs to play himself out of this bad little bit of form that he's in at the minute. It's not bad form. It's just he's not what he was at the minute. But what about that for you?
Yeah, I mean, we need definitely, like you say, the changes there. Ogbonna, Fredericks, 100% come back in. Yeah, I would bring Masuaku back in. I just, and again, we spoke about this. Yes, 100% the defense needs sorted. But the biggest problem is, and we spoke about this before the game, it's the way that the players are being used. The system's all wrong. It's just all wrong. So I don't know that, and this is the biggest problem. I don't know what he's going to change to fix it.
Yeah. Someone made a really good point. With these some of these clubs, like I know it's Liverpool, Man City. You look at them and you can go, right, that's the mould of a Klopp team. That's the mould of a Pellegrini. A Guardiola team. That's a Rodgers team. You look at Pellegrini's team at the minute. What is the team? What is it? Is it an attacking team? Is it a defensive team? Is it a possession team? I can't say we've got an identity at the moment. Do you think it's time to choose it?
No, mate. No. We spoke about this already before the game.
Let's go on to it. Right, Pellegrini Future. It seems to be very much. I'm going to give it 60-40 at the minute. I wouldn't say it's quite 50-50 yet with a fan base, but I'm slowly turning. I have to say, I'm slowly turning, and I like to give managers chances. And there is that argument of who is out there, but that also is the argument of you don't just stay with someone because you're scared of what's next. But there's something. Again, why is it always us as well? Seasons after season, you think, right, we're going to get there. We've got to get there, and this is a season where we can. If you had a good little run, you could definitely get top 6 this year. It just seems like, I don't know, is there another poisonous apple in the team again that we don't know about? Is it just
I don't think so, mate. I don't think there's a poisonous apple in the team. I think the team, I think the Oxford result completely killed all momentum, and I think that was a massive.
Fabianski as well. That is massive. Massive.
It is massive. But you can't, just because the keeper's out doesn't mean you stop scoring goals. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think Oxford really knocked the confidence out of the players, and it's just got worse and worse and worse since then. And this is the thing. Just like you, mate, I like to give managers time. I've been a big supporter of Pellegrini. I've been a big fan, and I've been very much saying, right, okay, we need to give him time to build a team, to build to complete a project sort of thing. But he just seems lost. He just seems absolutely lost. And I said to you yesterday, I was very angry yesterday. I said to you, right, that's it. He lost me. Yesterday was the day he lost me. Calm down a bit today and sort of, more sort of reasonable today. But the biggest problem is I don't see any signs of change. If anything, we're going backwards. If
it was Moyes, Bilic, Allardyce,
any of them. Yeah, any of the past 6 managers we've had, if it was any of them, they would be getting absolutely crucified for these last few results. And it's not just the results; it's the way we're playing. We're playing with no identity. We've got no pace. Everything's backwards and sideways. The team selections are poor. I don't know what. I don't see any signs that he's turning it around. I don't see none. I genuinely don't know. I kind of feel like if we do win a game, it's going to be by luck more than anything.
Yeah, the only thing I will say, perhaps potentially, is maybe give him until Antonio's back. You know, so there's pace and there's a bit of power. I'm not saying Antonio's the man to save our season, but it changes the dynamics of the whole team. Let's see.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, and all right, bring Antonio back. I would say bring it if you're going to give him time, you have to give him a window. But is Sullivan going to back him? Is Sullivan going to go out and spend money in the window?
I don't think he's going to sack him, and then you're in that position that you were in under Moyes, where it's like you're not going to back him anymore, but you're not going to pay the 15 million to get rid of him, and then you end up in that purgatory thing where you're not going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
And again, it's back to the owners a bit. I don't want to be too much owner hate stuff again, but they are a big problem.
Do you know, I see a couple of people saying this, and I think it's 100% right. The situation that we're in at the moment as a club with the owners is they're literally so every year the debt is getting lower and lower and lower. The net spend has been not really much. I think the net spend in the summer was only like 20 million.
25, wasn't it? Yeah.
So it weren't a lot. And I've seen that they basically just want us to be debt free by 2021.
Yeah.
And then they can sell the club with no debt. Potentially then we'll be able to maybe own the stadium as well. And then if that's the case, there's nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. As long as we're not in any direct threat of being relegated, nothing is going to happen. We'll just keep ticking over exactly how we are now.
It's very depressing. Very, very depressing. I think we'll end it there, man. Because I can't talk about this anymore. It's doing me in. So join us for a podcast in a week, guys. If you have any questions, drop them in Twitter. We are on Instagram as well. The only thing we're not on, I don't think, is Facebook anymore. Or drop them in the comments of this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.
Cheers.